Activists asked Canada's environment ministers to court in fights to save northern Scottish owl. Environmental groups in Canada are taking legal actions against the country's environmental ministers, arguing he is deadly in protecting old growth forest is harming the critically endangered northern spotted owl. In February, Stevens collaborators said the woods recommended an emergency order after determining the species was facing immediate threats to its disappearance. Emergency orders are a powerful tool under Canada's endangered species regulations have been under only 3 times in the country's history, including once by collaborators. This grants the federal government jurisdictions over destructions typically requires for a province, including the ability to detect which forests are off limited to loggings. Decades of old growth calculations have wiped out most of the northern spotted owl's habitats in British Columbia's living birds populations in Canada at just one female towns from about 40 breeding pairs in the 19th. The minister's initiative determines that overcrowded logging must stop within the areas of the Spossums Nation's territory, including the Spossums and Artilium's waterheads, as well as a further 25,000 hectares of forest habitats at risk. But in the 4th month since collaborators announced plans for emergency order, environmental group says he has failed to follow thoughts. The minister is legally obligated to make an emergency order recommendations of cabinet to protect this icon species. Any further study in acceptable states rituals governments are layers in ecojunctions, which is depending the advocacy group wetness committees. Within the logging seasons, arms of the only ones owls remaining in the wild of frontiers in immediately protects the species remaining habitat is the expectations of the spotted owls from Canada. Joy Forest spokesperson for Wetlands Committee says voice between enslaved Canadians as we wait for freedom's governments to put their spotted owl recoveries strategy in place and for the ministers to recommend an emergency orders. Even thoughts we wedges stop its owls numbers divided on one's downs of extremely low. But the situation where is now is alarming. Islands, Maze Force, and Gofiel's Nections as mappers with wetlands committees travels to areas in British Columbia that the federal government had previously identified would become critical habitats as part of its Spoken's Owls recovers plains, a powerful distinction which falls hard logging under federal law. For allegiance logging companions have raised however as those areas before they are formally designed off limited. We saw areas that has been mapped of critical habitats already logged as areas where these critical habitats begins logged right now, and we saw areas of standing forest markets at critical habitats in the federal government draft bodies over recovery plans that are pending approval for logging, he said. We are in a very dry situation. The forest is broken, so if the federal government has a plans to fix it. But it thought forest as long as it would make the recoveries of spotted owls highly unlikely. In an interview within the Guardians in April, school builders says it was worries of recommending the emergency orders can bears because of concerns it could seriously degrade the relationship between the province of British Columbia and the federal government, telling efforts of saves the numbers of other species including corvias. The reality it is a last reports years before once you are that there is no collaborations this year. However, he added that fails to a relationship between federal government and the province can't be used to an excuse for not actually. Last month, two spotters owls from the British government programmers related into the wildlife spheres found that highlighting these steps challenges in recovering these species. Environmental group says most protections needed Guardian space to be mass protections in the groundlands into the health of the region's extended rainforest. It's up citizens to try to do the right things for says to the laws which currently we tried everything else and it overs responsibility to try this too. Find more age of sections of Converge theirs and follows biodiversity reports Fabian's Forsters and Patrick's Greenwald's post visitors for all of latest news and